Okay guys, today we're just going to be talking about some basic grammar. These are some of the first things that you learned last year. Use your handout and go through the slides and fill in the blanks as you go. Nouns and gender. Nouns name 4 types of things, and we know this. People, places, things, ideas. We talked yesterday about how books can have verbs and iPods can have verbs. It doesn't have to be a person to conjugate a verb to fit it. So always look for the subject, the noun. Don't necessarily look for a person. Nouns in Spanish are either masculine or feminine. Nouns that end in O are masculine, and nouns that end in A are feminine. The word that means masculine or feminine is gender. So when we talk about gender, then you know, am I talking about, is it masculine or is it feminine? Nouns that do not follow that general rule must be memorized, and we know that there are some of those, unfortunately. Using the O and A rule that we've talked about, we can kind of determine most nouns. And you can look here, I've gone ahead and put in which ones are masculine, which ones are feminine. Basically, these are just the obvious ones. Ends in O, masculine. Ends in A, feminine. Can you name some nouns from our list that do not fit in the general rule? Can you think of some? I know one that we teach in chapter 5 is sofa, like the sofa. And we know that it's not la sofa, it's el sofa. Also, the word dia, like the day of the week. We don't say la dia, we say el dia. And I'm sure you can think of some more. Okay, definite articles. Talked about articles a little bit yesterday when we talked about our crossword puzzle, and I said you were going to use the article. Some of you looked at me like I was an alien. Remember, definite articles, all 4 of them say the, and there are 4 in Spanish. The reason why there are 4 is because we have to match them up with, are they masculine, are they singular, are they feminine, are they plural? And so we come up with el, la, los, and las. Now you can just write the definite article that goes along with the noun. And again, pretty easy. As long as we can follow the O and A rule, it's very easy for us. And then there are some that are exceptions, of course. Okay, now indefinite articles. Now we talked about definite. Definite would be like the. El, la, los, and las. The. Indefinite would be just something that's non-specific. Indefinite articles are used to refer to things in general, non-specific things. So things like, a book, not just the book, but like, some pencils, not those pencils over there. I'm not being specific. And the indefinite articles are un, una, unos, and unas. And there again, we have 4 because there again in Spanish, we have to make it agree. Singular, plural, masculine, or feminine. Un and una mean a or an. And then unos and unas are the plural, so they mean some or few. To know which article to use with a particular noun, you have to ask yourself 2 questions. Is the noun masculine or feminine? Is the noun singular or plural? So just like we talked about, how do you decide which one to use? Look at the end of the word. Is it masculine or feminine, singular or plural? And then sometimes we'll just have to memorize those exceptions. All right, so it asks you to fill in the blanks, and you can see I've already filled in the blank. The correct indefinite articles, and then write the English meaning. So we can look at those. Unas carpetas, some folders. Una silla, a chair. Un libro, a book. Unos cuadernos, some notebooks. Okay, notice I'm matching them up. I've got unas carpetas, una silla, un libro, unos cuadernos. Pretty easy. It would sound funny if you said it wrong, like un carpetas. You probably would hear that mistake. All right, this word I. For some reason, this word always stumps Spanish 1 students, but it's really very, very easy. The verb I can be used singularly and plurally to say this is, there is, or there are. So I can use it both ways. I don't have to conjugate it, which is the easy part. So we need to remember that I, H-A-Y, it's not hey, okay? I, H-A-Y, there is, there are. And in a question, it would say, is there or are there? Por ejemplo, hay una pizarra en el colegio. Hay un bolígrafo en la mochila. So there is a chalkboard in the school. Is there a pen in the backpack? So I'm using I, but I'm using it in a question and then in a sentence. Sí or no. Okay, when you want to answer a question affirmatively, which means you want to say yes, you will usually begin your response with sí. When answering negatively, begin with no and put a second no before the I or the verb. And this is when you're answering a yes or no question. When someone asks you, do you like pizza? If you answer back, if you want to say yes, then sí. Of course, we know sí. Sí, me gusta mucho la pizza. Yes, I really like pizza. But if you want to say no, in Spanish we use no twice. We say no the first time to say no, and then no to say not, because that's how we negate the verb. So no, I don't like pizza. No, no me gusta la pizza. Or if you want to use it with I, no, no hay un bolígrafo en la mochila. No, there's not a pen in the backpack. Por ejemplo, ¿hay tarea? Is there homework tonight? Sí, hay tarea. No, no hay tarea. So yes, there's homework. No, no, there's not homework. And I use my no the first time to say no, and my no the second time to negate the verb, to make the verb negative, to say not. There's not homework, or don't. All right, making nouns plural. This is very important. When we make nouns plural, we make anything plural in Spanish. If it ends in an S, if it ends in a vowel, we're just going to add an S. So that's your easiest rule there. Ends in a vowel, add an S. But if it ends in a consonant, we have to add ES. Okay, and then we're going to pronounce that E as well. In English, sometimes we don't always pronounce every syllable, but in Spanish we would. So like papel, papeles. We don't say papels. Okay, papel, papeles. Diccionario, diccionarios. I don't have to do anything but add an S if it ends in a vowel, add an ES if it's a consonant. Here's where the trick comes in. If it ends in a Z, I need to change that Z to a C and add ES. And the reason for that is because I want to keep the sound. I want to maintain the same sound, and I want to, the Spanish language just needs to flow. And so instead of saying lapices, lapices. And if you remember, I talked about how the Z in Spanish is actually pronounced more like a C anyway. So lapices, when you make it plural, change that Z to a C and then add ES. And C is a consonant, so it does follow our above rule. Okay, now they just want you to practice making some nouns plural. Teléfono ends in a vowel, so I just add an S. Computadora, again, ends in a vowel, just add an S. Reloj, if y'all remember, reloj is a clock, a watch. It ends in a consonant, so now I have to add ES, relojes. Luz, there's your Z rule. Okay, a luz is a light. It ends in a Z, so I'm going to have to change that Z to a C and add ES. Hoja, like a sheet of paper or a leaf. Hoja, hojas, profesor, profesores. All right, so if you filled out all of your notes, then you're done. Please feel free to go back and watch any of these slides that may have been confusing to you.